The interesting thing about shrine culture is that it basically is not so much connected to the nation state. Of course, you have secular shrines in Syria, quite a number, but these are not religious. A good example is the shrine of Sid Zainab to the south of Damascus. It's a very old shrine dedicated to a daughter of Imam Ali, a central figure in Muslim history, but in particular in Shiite history. For both Shiites and Sunnis, this was a sacred place. But we already saw before the war that the Iranian government was sending many pilgrims from Iran, and later also pilgrims from Iraq, to these shrines. And they accommodated the pilgrims by hiring hotels, by building lodges, but also what they did is basically restructuring the shrines, expanding them, and also giving them an Iranian look. And by doing so, they basically disconnected the shrine from the local community of both local Shiites and local Sunnis, and made it a goal for religious tourism, basically, from Iran and Iraq mainly. The Syrian shrine structures are traditionally very sober. Iranian ones are not sober. They have mirrors, silver, gold, tiles. It's a lot of bling bling. And basically, whenever the Iranian government invests in shrines in Syria, or even in Jordan as they did, all these shrines are turned into sort of Iranian fashion shrines, basically for an audience which is regional and not national. In a way, this is a threat, of course, because it changes the relation of the local community with the shrines, but also it's the future of the shrines. It is a broadening of heritage, especially in the war period. Some of these shrines are basically centers of mobilizing people, both from Syria and from the region. And a shrine like Sid Zainab attracts militia from Iraq, from Lebanon, from Iran, from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, and they basically are there to protect the shrine, which is a risky business because Islamist groups in particular, they target the shrine by car bombs, by firing rockets. So many people already died in the process of protection. But the shrine is still not occupied by enemy forces. It's not the only example, Sid Zainab is not the only example of a translocal, transnational shrine. When we look at the very traditional shrines and the network of shrines, it's very interesting to note that there are three saints which are very common in the area, the most common ones, and they overlap. For the Jews, it would be Elijah, the prophet from the Testament. For the Christian, it would be St. George, the knight who saved the Virgin. And for the Muslims, they call the same sort of entity Khidr. And there are thousands of places dedicated in the entire area, that's from the Balkans up to India, dedicated to either St. George, Ilyas, or Khidr. And Muslims would say, I go to visit Khidr. Christians would say, I'm visiting St. George or Ilyas. And the small Jewish communities, they stick to Ilyas, to Elijah. So these are all structures. And the largest shrines, also the Christian ones, attract audiences as far as from Canada. Basically, the Middle Eastern diaspora. So you see that diasporic communities, in particular in Lebanon, but also in Syria, also invest in shrine facilities in Syria and Lebanon. A famous one is the cave in which the prophet Elijah was supposed to have been hiding for a long time when he lived in the desert and he was fed bread by ravens. This used to be a very small shrine. And then we know that around 1900 there was a larger structure built close to the shrine. And just before the war there was a huge church being built on top of the hill with many facilities for hotels, a bus terminal. And this was mainly to cater for the Christian diasporic community. And so the shrines developed from smaller local places and they stretch right over the globe as places of heritage.